When Tim Geiser wheeled out an all-new factory 450 Honda this year, we knew we were in for something very special in the pipeline. And finally it's here, the 2021 Honda CRF450R. The Honda CRF450R has been one of the most popular four-stroke dirt bikes ever sold. It's been hugely popular all over the globe, and while it didn't set the world on light winning AMA or World Championships for quite a few years, in club level racing it's been really popular. Now this new version is the 6th generation of the CRF450R, and yes, you can see it's back to a single pipe. Honda loves its mass centralisation and sometimes fits twin pipes to bikes and then often goes back to single pipes, but the new 450R for 2021 is back to a single piper. But let's take a look at how Honda got here. Okay, it started in 2002. Honda wheeled out their first 450 with a Unicam engine and the aluminium twin spar frame, and actually it was pretty slow. The bike got sharpened up in 2003 with a longer shock which made it handle better, but it was still one of the most mellow bikes out there. However, in 2005 everything changed. The bike was incredibly fast. Second generation of the bike ran from 2005 to 2008. It was lighter, it had a new frame, it had a wider power band, and for the very last model, all these bikes were carburetor fed of course, the very last model of 2008 had the Honda steering damper 2. It also had lots of changes, but that was the second generation of the bike and people loved it. In 2009, Honda had a new, more compact engine and actually had fuel injection on the bike for the first time. And it had different suspension, and it wasn't a massive success. It was very front end heavy, the fuel injection was pretty damn good, but people still harked back for the carb bike. It took them a few years to get it right. Then came the next generation of the bike in 2013. Once again, new frame and swing arm, new bodywork. This one had a Kayaba PSF fork and a dual muffler exhaust. Yeah, back to the twin exhaust for all that mass centralisation. The bike was well received with clubmen, but was never that quick. And as KTM, Husqvarna and Yamaha really fought the horsepower war, Honda was left a little behind with a bike that was easy to ride, but not the quickest. That all changed in 2017 with the all-new bike and the absolute whole shop philosophy. The bike was faster, it was the 6th generation twin spar aluminium frame, now fitted with 49mm coil spring shower forks. The bike's been successful ever since. However, now we're on to generation 6 of the bike, and every part of the old machine has been gone through and pretty much thrown away apart from the wheels and a few engine bits. This bike really is all new. It's also lighter. It's 2 kilograms lighter. That's despite them fitting a hydraulic clutch. There's a new frame and swing arm with changes to geometry and suspension. These also save weight and really improves cornering, say Honda. The focus for the engine has been on low to mid-range, with intake and exhaust upgrades, a new decompression system, plus obviously that single exhaust. The clutch, so often a bit of an issue with Hondas, is now bigger and is hydraulic. And the plastics, they're very different. They're more compact and there's a smaller seat unit which apparently lets you move around the bike a lot easier. So let's look at things in a little bit more detail. The chassis itself is still the aluminium twin spar chassis, but it is new. Main spars are narrower and there's a new rear subframe. All of this is aimed at saving weight. Narrower swing arm spars and the swing arm pivot point, and with a revised swing arm rigidity. It's been fine-tuned to improve the feel of the bike. Now these geometry changes combine to make the bike really corner even better than before. The front suspension has been revalved and now has an extra 5mm of stroke, and the rear shock is also new and has been revalved too. And of course there's improved ergonomics from the smaller new seat and more compact redesigned plastics. Now thanks to narrower main spars, the chassis weighs in 8.4 kilograms, which is 700 grams less than the previous design. And the new subframe also saves 320 grams. It only weighs 910 grams overall. Now what Honda's tried to do with the chassis is to maintain the torsional rigidity but reduce the lateral rigidity by around 20%. This gives you an increase in corner speed, traction and steering accuracy. It's all about dialing in the feel of that frame. The aluminium swing arm has also changed, the rigidity has been changed to match the frame, the arms of it are narrower, it does look pretty cool, and the pivot point's been changed, and the Pro-Link ratio is also new too. The top and bottom fork yokes are revised for more flex. Honda say this is going to give quicker steering, but actually more importantly a better feel. The forks at the front, 49mm Showa USD coil spring forks, is a version of the factory fork supplied by Showa to race teams in the Japanese Championship. The forks have been revalved, the stroke lengthened, and the axle clamps' rigidity increased. What Honda's really done is change the feel of the bike by making something stiffer where accuracy is important and dialing a little bit more flex and feel in other areas to really help cornering. The Showa rear shock is new, the main piston valving is bigger for faster response and improved bump absorption, and the spring itself uses the world's lightest steel, claim Honda, saving 200 grams. The seat is now shorter, lighter and actually 10mm lower at the rear, really to help the rider move around on the bike more. It's also much easier to remove and install. Maintenance is also easier as a number of 8mm bolts securing the bodywork goes from 6 down to 4 on each side. The bike is also slimmer by 70mm. That's 50 on the left and 20 on the exhaust side. Obviously you can make it slimmer on the left side where there doesn't need to be a bulge for a second exhaust anymore. The plastics are thinner and the tank cover, well, that's gone for a new look. The rake and trail are now tighter and the wheelbase slightly shorter, only by 1mm. Ground clearance is up by 8mm and the bottom yoke now sits 6.1mm higher. So dry weight of the bike is claimed at 105.8 kilograms. That's a full 2 kilograms lighter than the previous bike. Honda's gone to town with the computers, and computational flow dynamics have helped redesign the radiator shrouds to help air flow through them even better than before, and they've now got a lower vent. And the radiator grills are also changed for better airflow. The titanium fuel tank now holds 6.3 litres and it's also been redesigned. The handlebars are Renthal fat bars. Great to see a British company getting in there. And the top yoke has 2 different positions that the handlebars can be put in, moving them forward or backwards by 26mm. Also, if you turn the holder round, then you can move an additional 10mm from the base position, so there are 4 unique riding positions. Up front, even the brakes are changed. The twin piston brake caliper has 2 different size pistons in it, one at 30 and one at 27mm, and there's a 260mm wave pattern disc, along with low expansion rate brake hose to give it a really strong and consistent feeling. At the rear it's a single piston caliper matched with a 240mm disc. The bike comes with DID aluminium rims and the rear wheel is both stronger and lighter for 2021, and the bike comes with Dunlop's MX-33 soft terrain tyres fitted as standard. And of course, bold new graphics. So in terms of the engine, there's a larger airbox with a revised throttle body and exhaust ports for more bottom end. A new exhaust downpipe, of course it's new because there's now only a single exhaust. This is for torque and it also saves weight. There's a larger volume hydraulic clutch, replaces the old cable clutch for a more consistent feel, and well done Honda, would be asking for a hydro clutch for years. And there's a new decompression system which should make the bike stall less. The 4-valve Unicam engine has had an increase in peak power by 0.6 kilowatts above 5,000 RPM. That's got a stronger low RPM torque feel. That's the result of the airbox, increasing in size by 1.8 litres. The new airbox, which is now accessed easy with removal of just one side shroud, feeds a redesigned lighter 46mm throttle body. The injector angle has changed from 30 to 60 degrees, spraying fuel all the way back to the butterfly to improve intake efficiency, cooling of the charge, and just give you a slightly nicer feel on the throttle. The decompression system is new, the counterweight's moved from the right of the camshaft to the left, giving more stable operation at low RPM, hopefully to increase its stall resistance. In terms of the engine, the biggest change is the exhaust ports. Borrowed from the CBR 1000 Fireblade, these are now oval rather than round, which apparently gives an improved efficiency. Of course, you can get rid of the twin pipes for one, that saved 1.24 kilograms, and the pipe also tucks in closer to the frame by 74mm. The clutch capacity has been increased by 27% with an extra plate from 7 to 8. This works with an extra friction spring to maximise power transmission and durability. Hooray for that. Honda says slippage has been reduced by 85% at peak power, and of course it's now hydraulically controlled. The bore and stroke is the same at 96 by 62.1 and the compression ratio 13.5 to 1. Now the gear position sensor allows the use of 3 specific ignition maps for first and second, third and fourth and fifth gear. Electronics is a big deal on any bike nowadays, And Honda has the HSTC, the Honda Selectable Torque Control, with 3 riding modes plus off, which is a bit like traction control. There's launch control with 3 different options, and engine mode select button also has 3 maps, so you can adjust the power of the engine for different tracks. The HSTC button is now part of the left-hand switch gear, and the HRC setting tool, where you can actually change the maps, has been updated for changes to aggressive and smooth modes. So if you're a Honda fan and you like the look at Tim Geiser's bike, then this is the machine you've been waiting for. It looks different, it's lighter. Honda have worked on every part of this machine to make it even better than before. This is now the 6th generation of the CRF450 and set to be by far the best ever. Tim Geiser really liked the bike when he first got to ride the factory version of it, essentially a prototype of the production bike with some factory components. He's done really well on it, Mitch Evans has done well on it too, and now it'll be coming to dealers near you pretty soon. Honda's also unveiled the CRF450RX. Now these has all the changes that the new CRF450R motocross bike has, except in an XC, a cross-country type package. The most obvious change is the bigger fuel tank, and all the settings are different to make a competitive off-road racing machine. We've already seen all the other 2020 model 450s from all the manufacturers, well apart from Suzuki, and chances are that won't be any different. And the Honda is by far the bike that's had the most number of changes. If something new is what really floats your boat, and this bike looks like it should do, then it's going to be an awesome year for Honda.